Howdy and hello, I'm Doe. Hope you're doing good. Let's talk about modifiers in Helldivers 2 and why they're not the greatest. And before anyone says they're here to give you variety and make you change your build, they do it in the worst way possible. They encourage meta, full stop. For instance, -1 stratagem. What does that make most players do? It makes them take the best items they have available because the game is removing some power. Stratagems are powerful. Taking one away makes most players think to themselves, I now have less tools in my toolbox. I might as well bring the best tools I have available. That does not encourage variety. It does the opposite. It encourages folks to use hard meta if they're aware of what's the best thing to bring. Then you have things such as making your orbitals miss. Doesn't affect the 500k G-bomb. Doesn't affect eagles at all as far as I'm aware. It mostly affects orbitals. Not rail cannon strike and not orbital laser, but gas strike and precision strike. How does a modifier make precision strike just miss? Horribly, by the way. And the funny thing there is, eagle strikes are better 9 times out of 10. Orbital laser's good, sure. Not the greatest versus bugs in the first place, but it's good. The rest of them aren't that great though. Barrages are neat, but why would you make gas strike, precision strike, and anything just miss? Where is the counterplay there? Modifiers in Helldivers 2 have zero meaningful counterplay. It is just waiting or just being less powerful, and nothing really engaging happens from that. And it doesn't encourage variety. So why keep them? A game that's so against meta, because initially it was just meta's the boogeyman, we can't have that, encourages it with modifiers. And the modifiers go against what they told players to do in the first place and what they expect from players and want them to do, which is use more stratagems. How can I do that when you take one away? And you can get cases where every mission in an operation has minus one stratagem and the higher levels. Even the ones that only have one modifier, because when you go to Helldive, you have 2 modifiers active. And then on the bug plans, you have missions that every single operation has making your orbitals miss. I don't understand why. And now, I've hated modifiers for a long time. And modifiers, I've always been defended by players saying that they're a skill thing. Just get better. Mother effer, bro. I'm different at games. It's not that I can't beat the missions with the modifiers. It's just that the modifiers make the missions boring. They make the game boring, and I don't know why. And now we have Raven's Watch. Very few folks probably heard of it. Amazing games. $20 on Steam, on sale somewhat often. Freaking pick it up. It's fantastic. They had modifiers that I didn't quite like, but I could manage it. It wasn't the end of the world. Now you can customize them. You can turn them off. You can pick pre-selected ones that also give you a benefit. There's downsides and upsides. The first reroll for any choice is free. Play only at night. That may sound like a bad thing, but some characters benefit from night. There's nighttime bonuses for certain characters. Then you have all enemies are corrupted. I forget what that means exactly. I think they're a bit stronger. And it goes on. Green's good, and then red's bad. And you can customize them, bro. You can pick your own poison. Why can't we have something like that for Helldivers 2? And maybe not something like this, but why can't we have some interactiveness? Why can't we make modifiers more interactive? And in the meantime, get rid of the ones that don't encourage meaningful gameplay. Get rid of -1 stratagem. It's not engaging at all. And get rid of orbitals missing. Those are not fair. They're not fun. They don't do anything for your game. And on top of all the nerfs you have in your game constantly, they're just terrible. Why not make it so eventually, because I know time's tough right now with the recent Sony stuff, but eventually let players either destroy the objectives, destroy side objectives in the mission that are tied to modifiers, or give us bonuses. Give us an upside and a downside. Don't just sit there and think that you're tailoring a challenging experience. You're not. You're making your game more boring and you can't see it. But trust me, you are. There's a trend among almost every single game that has modifiers, and that trend is eventually the more folks play with these modifiers affecting their gameplay, they'll come to despise them, because that's the harsh reality. Some folks may not notice it, some folks may try and fight it the best they can, but eventually they'll be like, why is this a thing? But some folks right now will say, no, it's fine, just get better. It's not about getting better, bro. We shouldn't be using the get better thing here. It doesn't make any sense. I can solo Helldive, in some cases, using no stratagems if I want to. You can beat missions easily. You can full clear missions kind of easily too. It's not a get better thing. It's more, why can't the game be more fun? That's what That's what I'm asking for. But D Douglas, I love when I have -1 stratagem and my stratagems miss for no good reason. My condolences. You'll get help one day, but today's not that day. It don't look like. It makes more sense to give players benefits rather than drawbacks. When I have a mission stratagem, I don't even have to use it. It's a thought that counts. I love seeing it. It's nice to have it. And when I do use it, maybe I'll like something I don't normally use. You don't always have to have that, but that is an example of something that's nice. Having -1 stratagems is not nice. You can have small bonuses, maybe 5% extra fire damage, 10%, whatever number makes sense. Or you can go a different route and do what the game's already doing to some extent. We have planets on the bug side that give you more of a certain unit than others on missions. So, for example, you'll have times where there's a ton of hunters, more than you normally ever face. Why? Random. You'll have times where there's a bunch of brood commanders, more than you normally face. Why? Random. What if you made it less random, gave a player a heads up, and they could choose the builds they want that would go well against these mobs? Then, if you could crank it up a little bit, somehow, some way, maybe based on level or based on a slider, if you wanted to increase difficulty of the modifier and get more XP for it, shocking thought there, you could have builds that are good against chaff, better against chaff than you normally run. Because at the moment, you're not running Stalwart on Helldive for fun. Or you're not running it to be useful. You're running it because you're really bored. You want to play something different once, and then when you play it, you realize how bad it is, never play it again. That's what you're feeling. But if you had missions that had a bunch more chaff, it would make sense to run Stalwart, maybe Machine Gun, then have Gatling Gun and Machine Gun Sentries and Tesla Tower Throwers, Tesla Towers. You could have different builds, and that incites variety, that encourages people to use different stuff, and that keeps them enjoying the game. The best way to get bored of a video game is to keep doing the exact same thing over and over again. And Helldivers is encouraging the exact same thing over and over again because they don't know what they're doing with balance, and their modifiers encourage meta. You see what I'm getting at here? The reason why I can play a game for 700 hours, 1,000 hours, 5,000 hours is because I am playing different stuff. I'm not playing it the exact same way. Maybe I might be doing the exact same thing, technically. He goes into a mission, he beats the mission using stratagems and weapons. What a repetitive game. Everything's repetitive, brother, including your life. You wake up, you go to sleep, shocking development. You can dumb things down to that level, sure, but I'm doing more than that. I'm using HMG, autocannon, railgun, different stratagems, HMG emplacement, Tesla Tower Thrower, nonsense, bubbling. I'm testing out different things too. Like, that's what makes the game fun for me and keeps me playing. But they're making it difficult for no good reason. Toss me a freaking life rope here. Toss players a life rope. If you give me the ability to have more variety, I can show people the way. That's what folks expect these days, and that's fair. But they make it tough for me, man. I like doing different stuff. I like getting wacky with it, and they make it tough for me because everything is whack. Okay, I'm on this mission. I have these cool little things. Oh, there's a monster. There's a ton of things I didn't account for because I couldn't have accounted for. If you took away a little bit of that leeway, it's more engaging. That's just where I'm at. And like I said, there's a few ways to go about it. I think the base thing is just give people a benefit. Give them a bonus of some kind or give them some information. No matter how you phrase it, just give instead of always taking. Small bonuses, mission stratagems, and or the ability to choose what kind of mobs you want to face based on the mission, and that'd be the modifier. You can maybe scale it up and get more XP or whatever the case. I think it's pretty fair. I think it's a pretty neat idea. Because you can't just do what Raven's Watch is doing. The Raven's Watch is different. My goodness. Raven's Watch is a different kind of game, which is very fun. Oh my, dude, Snow Queen is such a good time. I was playing Geppetto, and I like him. But Snow Queen just has that mobility. She has sick... she's just so freaking awesome. One thing I love about Raven's Watch, they don't let their egos get in front of what's good for the game. Helldivers 2 is the opposite. Their egos stay in front of what's good for the game on a constant basis. I don't know why. In Raven's Watch, they made so many good changes in the recent update that I would have never expected. You can tailor modifiers to your own liking, turn them off entirely. You have options. You can go into a new chapter, or a chapter in general, starting, and you can pick between the 4 starting traits. Before you load into a chapter, only get options of 2. Even though you had 4, it would give you randomness. And what folks are doing was Alt F4ing, restarting, and hoping to get the one they're looking for. And they do that over and over and over again. I was people. And I said, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, just let me choose between the one I want. If I pick the one I want to use, oh well. Like, don't force that nonsense onto me. I will make my own choices. And that's exactly kind of what Helldivers is doing right now, and how players can counteract it in the exact same way. You get some garbage modifiers you don't want to deal with. What do? You Alt F4 and you cycle. They call it cycling. When you exit the game, restart it, and hopefully you cycle the modifiers into one you will put up with. You see what I'm getting at here and how it's just not ideal? There are ways to make games enjoyable and challenging. If you want my suggestion for how to make Helldivers 2 more challenging, it starts with mission design. Your missions are easy. If you want a challenging game, make your missions harder. They're all simple missions. So I don't know why you're trying to crank up the difficulty in terms of the mobs being freaking laser accurate at all difficulties, headshotting you for more than half your HP at all difficulties, when you have other options. This is a whole different topic now. We're getting off the rails. Anyway, that's a Yap session rated 0 through 10. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Peace.